So we've spent our entire working lives just, fixated on one number, the financial goal we need to hit to retire.
Right.
But here's the thing that really jumped out from the sources we analyzed today. Retirement success is less than 50% about the money.
Which completely changes the game, doesn't it? And that's exactly why we're doing a deep dive into Christine Benz's book, How to Retire.
She's the director of personal finance at Morningstar.
That's her. And she compiled lessons from 20 top experts to get at that other 50%, the critical non-financial wisdom you need for a phase of life that could be a third of your entire existence.
So our mission here is simple. We're pulling out those human elements, happiness, relationships, purpose, because, the book shows again and again that money just isn't enough to make you happy.
Yeah, and it's important for you to know, as you're listening, this isn't just one person's opinion. These 20 experts, they even disagree on stuff. Some love annuities, some hate them. It gives you a much richer map.
A diverse map, exactly.
Okay, so let's unpack this with the first big idea. This comes from Michael Fink, and it's his warning about the purpose and structure trap.
I think this one really hits home for a lot of people.
Totally. The problem isn't that you don't have work to do. It's that you lose your status, your identity. For white-collar professionals, you lose that daily hit of serotonin that comes from being important to your job.
It's that great golfing metaphor he uses.
Oh, it's perfect.
If you play golf every single day, it stops being this fun leisure activity. It starts to feel like an obligation, like work. You need that variety, that intellectual challenge.
So the actionable part is, how do you prepare for that? Fink says you have to visualize it. He asks you to picture your retired life as a row of dots.
A row of dots.
Yeah. So say you retire at 65 and you live to 85. That's 20 years. He says picture that as 2 rows of 10 dots.
Okay, I see.
And the point is to look at those 20 dots and intentionally design your structure. You have to fill them with meaning instead of just letting the time fill itself with, anxiety and boredom.
That structural part is huge. But even if you have a plan, people run right into this next barrier, the psychological block to actually spending the money they saved.
It's almost harder than saving it in the first place.
So where does that come from?
Well, it's basically 4 decades of conditioning. Jeannie Hopkins points this out. We get so good at the habit of saving that flipping the switch to spending feels wrong. It causes this chronic underspending anxiety.
And this is where the stories get truly fascinating. Ramit Sethi talks about this FIRE couple.
Financial independence, retire early.
Right. And they retired with $4.3 million.
And they still struggle to spend.
Wait, $4.3 million? Come on, that is almost offensive. They have generational wealth, and they're agonizing over a cup of coffee.
That is the power of that conditioning. So Sethi's fix is actually pretty simple. He says you need to define a worry-free number.
A worry-free number.
Yeah, whether it's $50 or $5,000. It's an amount you pre-approve so you can stop agonizing over those small purchases. And then, for the big stuff, he says create a 5-year bucket list.
So you're forcing yourself to think bigger.
Exactly. You're forcing that aspirational, meaningful spending, a big trip, learning a new skill. It makes the transition real.
Okay, so our final big idea moves completely beyond the balance sheet. It's about longevity. Laura Ferstenson's work shows genetics only accounts for, 30% of a long life?
Yeah, about 30%. 70% is lifestyle. And social relationships and happiness are actually better predictors of how long you'll live than your wealth.
Which is vital because when you retire, all those work relationships can just fade away. And the book notes men especially struggle to replace them.
And the story of Fritz Gobert is such a perfect example of this. His wife, after her role as a caregiver ended, she was just in a headspin. Totally lost her sense of purpose.
So what was the fix? Did they try to find her another job or something?
No, something else entirely. They just sort of ambled into starting a charity. It was called Freedom for Fido.
Freedom for Fido.
Yeah. They built free fences for low-income families whose dogs were just tied up outside all day. And this little charity, it became the solution to everything.
Wow.
It provided purpose, physical activity, and maybe most importantly, it created this whole new Fido family community. It filled that social gap without them even trying.
So in the end, the core tension is still there. Financial readiness, it gets you through the door of retirement.
It opens the door, yeah.
But it's the emotional and relational readiness that decides if you're actually going to be happy once you're inside. You can have all the money in the world, but without purpose and people, the sources are clear, you will fail.
And maybe the best way to leave this is with a final thought from a hospice doctor, Jordan Grummett. He does something called a life review with his patients.
Okay.
And he says, you should ask yourself this question right now. If you were told tomorrow you had 6 months to live, what specific things would you regret not having the courage or the time to do?
That's a powerful question.
It is. And his point is, don't wait for a crisis to give you that clarity. Start integrating that pursuit, even on a small scale, into the structure of your life today.